Greetings and salutations, Internet citizens. This is Wolfphototech, and here we are with another delightful video. This time I'm going to go over some old... I'm just going to like bust out and just do all of the official Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition books just to get them out of the lineup, because I got a whole bunch of stuff. I have like 2 piles of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition books, from here to just like a pile of to a little shelf right behind my desk here on the floor. So this is ridiculous. This is a older book. This is Aquistions Incorporated from Penny Arcade / Wizards of the Coast. And this is actually a rather neat book. It is not an adventure module. It's a resource book. It is around 224 pages. However, there's a little bit of something for everyone in this book. There's both stuff for players as well as game masters. In this book, you have many of those black sheets right there. Little artwork with the PA in there. Penny Arcade was the big show before Critical Role became a thing of note. You got obviously the credits right here, as well as the table of contents, as well as the full art for the book. This is actually a somewhat old book, but still pretty good. It goes over, the chapter 1 is Acquisitions Incorporated. No, chapter 2 is Growing Your Franchise. Chapter 3 is Player Options. You've got nice player options in there. Chapter 4 is The Ori of the Wanderer, which is a little adventure. And then you have various appendices with various characters, monsters, vehicles, and magic items and trinkets. So there you go. Throughout this entire book, you have some really nice artwork spread through it. It's set in world for the most part. Mostly talking about Acquisitions Incorporated as if it's an actual organization. It is a very good base foundation for creating your own adventures organization. By the way, I highly recommend creating a adventures organization, as it means that players can have a group of characters, like backup characters to backup characters, backup characters. And my favorite trick is using the paper birds for them to do a... this is a character update as to what my character is doing, our characters are doing. We mail it back to home base. Our characters tell the other party or the home base what's up. That way, if your party TPKs, I mean, you lose your entire party in your adventure, you can just say, oh, your team has yet to send back a paper bird for like 3 or 4 days. They gather together a new group to send out to the last known location, in which was reported via the paper bird messages. So that's an effective way to just start up anew. The art style in the book actually just jumps a little bit. You know, the typical 5th edition art style, and then you have the more cartoony art style here and there, which is more in line with Acquisitions Incorporated style feeling. Jumps back between the two. A steampunk, a robot horse, which is kind of... You got franchise headquarter cost, baseline cost for your franchise, and everything else, gaining ranks within it. You got some backgrounds and various other stuff for your characters. Various roles in the organization. There's very few pages that are just text. Most pages do have artwork on them. It's always nice, but there's a few here and there. It's always nice to have random tables here and there, and some artwork to break it up. We happen to have the player options section. You have some new backgrounds for your characters, such as a celebrity adventurer scion, failed merchant, gambler, plaintiff, rival intern. And then you have some special hooks for various classes, for like barbarian, bard, cleric, etc., etc. Specifically in the flavor of Aquistions Incorporated. And then right back here, you get some, right after the wizard section, you got a few new ancestries or races, like the Verdan, and a few new spells. Most of these spells are not super useful, with the exception of, like, depending on how your campaign is going, Distort Value is pretty handy on occasion, as well as Insight Greed. That's a good escape. You pull out a gem, you basically distract your opponent with it, and you set it on the ground and you run away, and they're going to be fixated on the gem. Gift of Gab can help you out in a pinch, in conversations, as well as motivational speech. You have the organizations and factions and rivals, and then you have the little adventure in here, which I'm going to skip past because I'm not going to show you I'm not going to show you that stuff. And I'm going to get to the back, which then you have all the characters of note for Aquistions Incorporated stats in the back of the book. Which is kind of neat if you have players that are fans of Aquistions Incorporated. You can always have them pop in and help out or hinder the party, as well as you have some new monsters in here, like the Chaos Quadrupon, the Clockwork Dragon, the Deep Crow, the Ancient Deep Crow, Kegbot, and many more. There's not really anything much in... There's a mechanical beholder. There isn't a whole lot in the way of magical items. But you have a bunch of nice little trinkets that go with your characters. And the index. My personal stance is that there is some of this information that is in the Dungeon Master's Guide. So you do have player organizations information in the Dungeon Master's Guide. However, people don't like using the Dungeon Master's Guide because it's horribly organized. And it's kind of hard to read. Where the Aquistions Incorporated has a more expanded, more well-written version of organizations, which comes in handy. It has some really nice added features tossed in. You do have an adventure in there for levels 1 to 6, which is a good starting point for some parties. So there you go. As a player book, this is not an absolutely amazing book. You do basically get a few spells and backgrounds. So depending on what your character is like, that is perfectly cool to have like a legal intern as a part of your party. However, it is sitting around like that player score of 2.5 or just 2. None of this stuff in here is super useful for players unless you're going for that specific angle, which then adjusts the score. For Game Masters, this is like a 3.75 star book, maybe a 4-star book. It's really good. You do get some of the core information in the Dungeon Master's Guide. So if you have that one already and you go through it and you say like, oh, this is perfectly fine, I don't need any more expanded information, that's perfectly fine. However, if you want a deeper version of that, they got a deeper version of that in the Aquistions Incorporated, which then you most definitely want to. And I definitely do suggest creating an adventuring organization for your party, as it truly does is pull everyone together. It gives everyone a reason to be adventuring on together, as well as the fact that if your party TPKs or you lose a few characters or people get a little sick of playing certain characters, you can simply just switch over to another character. Someone has to go take a vacation or go off on a little quest back home to take care of a small problem. Your backup character shows up to help out the party. So there you go. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe on the channel. As I said before, it's like a 2.5 for players. It's not a high priority, but it's still something of value. For a Game Master, if you want more than what's in the DMG, this definitely has more of the organization building rules. A little bit more fleshed out, and I would definitely go for it then. So, thank you very much. Have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful weekend, a magnificent month, and see you next time. Ciao.